Angela Rayner.
Well, it's being reported that Angela Rayner has apparently admitted that she didn't pay the right amount of stamp duty on the purchase of a second home, and has referred herself to the independent advisor on ministerial standards.
So the Deputy Prime Minister, who's been raging about the perils of second homes because they drive up people's property prices.
And people who own them are Tory scum.
Tory scum. Yeah. So we know that she told Brighton and Hove Council when she bought this property that it was her principal residence. Funny that, when it's 260 miles from her constituency.
Yes.
Don't she save £40,000 council tax?
Well, I think everybody said throughout this whole imbroglio that she's done nothing wrong. But I have to say, it's an incredible coincidence that the property up in under Lyme happened to be exactly the same.
650,000.
So to avoid it. Yeah. Look, Andrew, we don't know that she's referred herself to the Independent Standards Commission.
Well, it's very, very widely reported right now. Obviously, we're on air, so I haven't seen.
Yeah. No.
But that has been speculated.
It wouldn't be the
first
first time that GB News got in ahead of everybody else. I mean, I think you got the date of the.
On a basic
2 weeks this has been running, this story.
On a basic common sense principle, how could it ever have even been considered a thought that you could propose your primary residence in Hove, which, if you're not familiar with UK geography, is towards the bottom. That's the short version if you're not in the
South
UK.
Coast.
Right, 350 miles away.
When you're an MP, essentially, for Manchester, which, if you're not in the UK, is kind of just above the middle up.
But one issue here, which I don't think has been focused upon enough, are the constituents of her constituency. Because if I've got it right now, she's no longer got an interest in the constituency home because she and her husband own it, her former husband, they're divorced. He got his half, she got hers. She took that money and put that down as a payment on the Hove property. So if I was constituent of Angela Rayner's, I would be mortally upset that the only two properties that now seem to be focusing are one on the south coast, a luxurious £800,000 next to Brighton, and this massive baronial grace and favour home in the centre of London.
Mike, was once lived in by Sir Winston Churchill.
Exactly.
Well, and John Prescott, so it's pluses and minuses,
But
look,
the reality down by Michael Gove.
Well, the reality is that the thing about MPs living in their constituencies and older, I mean, Nigel Farage lives in Kent, but he represents Clacton.
Stephen, do you not think it sounds odd for the Deputy Prime Minister and Housing Secretary to say her principal residence is in Hove on the south coast when she's the MP for Ashton-under-Lyne, 260 miles north of Hove?
And also thrashing around. I'm sorry, thrashing around. I need Hove because it's close to London. It's not.
Let me just respond, Andrew. I will defend the Labour Party with my dying breath, but I find it very difficult, in all honesty, to defend this. The optics are terrible. On this one.
And they have been for 10 days, and she should have said this straight away.
But let's not forget the Alistair Campbell rule. If you're on the front page of the papers for 9 days, it's a crisis.
But where is the integrity? I mean, let's let this investigation run its course and all the rest of it, but apparently she has admitted doing wrongdoing. Where is your integrity? If you want to be a public servant, if you want to represent people, especially in this day and age where trust in politics and politicians is diminishing rapidly, where is your sense of moral code and values yourself?
I'm glad you said that, because that, for me, is the absolute key. I mean, back in my day, you could claim a huge amount of money for a second home, even if you're a London MP. And fortunately, that no longer applies. You now can stay in a hotel. The idea that we had constituency homes and homes in Westminster, and unless you're the MP for Upper Bann or the Orkneys or something, was terribly wrong. And I know people who actually end up owning very desirable houses because, amazingly, Parliament paid the mortgage on their second home.
And then when they sold it at the end of their parliamentary
career, they didn't have to pay a penny back. And
or they could flip those two properties. They could continually flip, which was their major reason.
To avoid capital gains.
The other issue here is where's her sense of public duty? How many hours do you think she has sat down with these tax advisors, these experts, desperate to save her money? Expensive and very, very time-consuming, when she could have been sitting down trying to solve a constituency problem or maybe the small boats problem on the south coast.
What to her cabinet colleagues who've been wheeled out in TV and radio?
Absolutely.
Again and again, day after day, saying Angela Rayner has done everything within the rules, and now she's saying, "Whoops, I don't think I did."
The real problem is that the Labour Party is trying to have a reset. I mean, basically, we lost the summer war. Nigel Farage won the war this summer. summer by having press conferences every Monday. You know, he's dominated the airways. And so we're trying to get a reset by having Darren Jones in as a special advisor and changing the...
Darren
The guy
Jones.
that lies about the...
Well, small boats.
You're not disputing that he lied
The
about
contents.
the occupants of those boats, surely?
Yeah. He said on, I think it was on Question Time, he was actually talking about women and children on the boat.
He
said
said
they were
the
the
majority
majority.
were women, children and babies.
Yeah, he retracted 2 days later.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a fair point that there are some women and children on those boats.
No, that's not what he said. He said that it was the majority, which is a lie.
I think one thing in a pretty distinguished career, I think we can always cut him some slack for one.
Reboot the government.
Well, this is the point. So we're trying to get the reboot, and unfortunately, Angela Rayner is on the front page of virtually every newspaper that Zach Polanski's
This has got to come to a head, hasn't it? Because as I think you've
what
commented...
Michelle's just said, it is coming to the head.
Yeah, but as Andrew commented this morning, these Labour MPs doing the round supporting Angela Rayner are now getting pretty fed up of it, aren't they? Coming out of the interview and saying, I can't keep doing this.
I wrote this in the Mail today. A senior minister came raging up to you saying, I'm just fed up with this. Everything is all about Angela Rayner. We defend her, but we don't know the facts. Well, we know a few more now.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, we will know.
One thing we do know for certain is that this whole situation will have just made PMQ a lot more interesting.